WWD 皆さん、僕は V です。今日セリーヌに来ました。ぜひ期待してください。僕は期待しています。ありがとうございます。
Did Taehyung just hide his pain from Jungkook? The truth behind his exhaustion after the Celine show in Paris shocks ARMY. Paris, the city of lights, love, and endless glamour. But for Kim Taehyung, the Parisian spotlight at the Celine show 2025 may have cast a shadow over something far more fragile, his own well-being. Fans were enchanted as V stepped out in the French capital, draped in Celine's bold designs, oozing the confidence of a global icon. Cameras flashed, fans screamed, and for a moment, the world believed everything was perfect. But was it really? Or was there something Taehyung wasn't telling us, or even Jungkook? It all started with whispers. As videos of Taehyung leaving the show began circulating, ARMY couldn't help but notice something unsettling. His smile looked faint, his steps slower than usual, and his signature spark seemed dimmer under the Parisian night sky. Could it have just been the fatigue of a long day? Or was this the moment when the cost of his relentless schedule finally began to show? The question burned even brighter when a voice note surfaced, a private snippet from Jungkook's Weverse Live weeks prior, where he softly yet firmly warned Taehyung about pushing himself too far. Hyung, I know you love this, but please don't forget your health. Paris is beautiful, but it's not worth you breaking yourself, Jungkook had said, his tone heavy with concern. At the time, it felt like a sweet gesture. Now, it feels eerily like foreshadowing. But why would Taehyung hide his exhaustion? Was he trying to protect Jungkook from worrying too much? Or was he silently enduring it, thinking it was part of being an artist at the top of the world? As more fans analyzed photos from that night, the clues became harder to ignore. In one shot, Taehyung's eyes looked glassy, his usual glow replaced by something heavier. Another photo showed him holding onto a staff member's arm slightly too tightly, as if steadying himself. Was it just a fleeting moment of imbalance, or a sign of deeper exhaustion? The story took a sharper turn when an anonymous staffer reportedly revealed that Taehyung had barely slept in the 48 hours leading up to the show due to back-to-back fittings, rehearsals, and media appearances. He didn't complain, the source said, but you could tell he was running on empty. If true, it's no wonder Jungkook's earlier words now feel like an emotional gut punch. And then came the moment that broke ARMY's collective heart. A fan video caught Taehyung leaving the afterparty. This was not the same vibrant V they saw on the runway. His shoulders slumped, his hair slightly disheveled, his expression unreadable as he quietly entered his car. Some fans said they saw him close his eyes and lean back, as if willing the world to disappear for a few moments. Was this the raw glimpse of a man desperately needing rest? Caught in the relentless cycle of fame, Jungkook, meanwhile, was reportedly monitoring everything from Seoul. Insiders say he texted Taehyung multiple times during the trip, urging him to rest. Even through text, you could sense Jungkook's worry, one insider shared. He kept saying, "Don't push yourself just to make others happy. Promise me you'll rest." But did Taehyung listen? Or was his silence his way of shielding Jungkook from more worry? The emotional weight of their friendship has long been one of BTS's most tender narratives. Jungkook, the youngest, often shows a protective streak toward his hyungs, especially Taehyung, whose free-spirited nature sometimes leads him to forget his limits. In Paris, with oceans between them, Jungkook's inability to be physically present seemed to deepen his concern. Fans were quick to point out a haunting parallel. This wasn't the first time Taehyung had pushed himself to the brink. During BTS's earlier tours, there were moments when V's exhaustion showed, moments when ARMY held its collective breath, praying he'd get the rest he deserved. But in Paris, with no BTS schedule binding him, why did he still sacrifice his health? Was it pressure to uphold his image as a Celine muse? Or perhaps the weight of post-military expectations, returning to the spotlight with the world watching? Theories abound. Some suggest Taehyung feared disappointing the brand and fans alike if he showed any sign of weakness. Others believe he might have been trying to prove to himself that he could still keep up with the demanding pace of global stardom. Whatever the reason, it's clear that Jungkook's instincts were painfully accurate. When Taehyung finally returned to Korea, He was reportedly greeted by Jungkook at the airport in a low-key meeting shielded from fans. He looked tired, but when he saw Jungkook, there was a small smile. A source claimed. Jungkook didn't say much. He just hugged him tightly, like he was silently saying, "I was so worried." That hug sparked thousands of tweets overnight. ARMY flooded social media with hashtags like #ProtectTaehyung and #JungkookKnows. One fan wrote, "This isn't just about Paris or Celine. This is about years of V giving his all without pause. Jungkook sees it. Why can't everyone else?" In an unexpected twist, an audio clip leaked where Taehyung's voice could be heard faintly saying, "I didn't want to make him, Jungkook, worry. He worries too much about me already." The confession sent shivers through the fandom. Was this proof that Taehyung knowingly hid his struggles to keep Jungkook from carrying yet another emotional burden? And yet, some fans argue this selflessness is exactly why Taehyung needs protection now more than ever. Could this moment finally push BTS's inner circle to enforce mandatory rest for Taehyung? Or will his artistic drive continue to override his body's warning signs? The story remains unresolved, and perhaps that's what makes it so haunting. What's next for Taehyung? Will Jungkook's protective instincts finally get through to him? Or will V's unrelenting dedication continue until his body forces him to stop? As the Parisian lights fade and the world returns to its regular rhythm, ARMY waits, watching, worrying, hoping. One thing is certain. The bond between Jungkook and Taehyung has never felt more fragile or more fiercely protective. As Taehyung sat alone in his suite overlooking the Seine, the glittering lights outside felt like a mocking reminder of the dazzling facade he'd maintained all night. The Celine show had gone flawlessly, at least, that's what the world believed. On stage, he had been untouchable, a vision of elegance draped in a black leather trench, his eyes unreadable behind dark sunglasses. But now, behind closed doors, his hands trembled slightly as he unbuttoned his shirt, his reflection in the mirror looking back at him with a mixture of triumph and exhaustion. Why didn't he tell Jungkook? That question haunted him as his phone buzzed for the third time that evening. Another message from Jungkook, this one shorter than the rest. "Hyung, please answer. Are you okay?" Taehyung stared at the screen, his thumb hovering over the reply button. How could he tell Jungkook that his head was pounding, his muscles aching from sleepless nights, and that the high of walking the runway was already fading into an abyss of fatigue? Jungkook had always worried too much, and Taehyung, ever the protector despite being older, couldn't bear the thought of adding to that burden. But what if Jungkook was right? Just days before, during a late-night call, Jungkook had sensed something. "You're doing too much again, aren't you? You sound tired," he had said, his voice low but firm. Taehyung had laughed it off. "I'm fine. Don't be like this. It's just Paris. It's exciting." But even then, Jungkook hadn't been convinced. And now, Taehyung wasn't sure if he was trying to convince Jungkook or himself. The moment fans noticed the first signs were subtle. A brief stumble caught on camera as Taehyung exited his car, sunglasses slipping slightly to reveal tired eyes. Fans thought it was just a trick of the flash photography. But more footage from the after-party told a different story. In one clip, Taehyung seemed to lose his balance for a split second, gripping a chair for support before flashing a smile to hide the moment. It was enough for ARMY to start piecing things together. On Twitter, a fan account posted side-by-side photos. Taehyung glowing at the start of the night versus Taehyung leaving the venue looking pale and visibly drained. The tweet read, "Is no one going to talk about how exhausted he looks here? Taehyung needs rest, not endless schedules." The tweet went viral within hours, sparking a wave of concern across social media. Hashtags like #LetTaehyungRest and #JungkookWasRight trended globally. But amidst the storm, Jungkook's silence was deafening. Jungkook's growing worry while Taehyung tried to maintain his stoic facade in Paris. Jungkook back in Seoul was anything but calm. Insiders close to the group revealed that Jungkook had been glued to his phone all evening, refreshing news sites and fan updates, desperate for any sign that Taehyung was okay. Jungkook kept pacing, a staff member shared anonymously. Every time a new photo of Taehyung appeared, he'd zoom in, checking his expression, his posture. It was like he was trying to read between the pixels.